Hello, everyone, and welcome to our web series, Jibio Post. Today, our guest is Sally Arkell-Boles, a very accomplished professional in many rights. She's an accomplished international business director, manager of a leading financial services company in Canada, co-author of the book Acting with Intention, The Secret to Defining Success. Sally is also a public speaker. Most recently, she's an entrepreneur and a confidence coach. Sally, welcome to our web series. We're so happy to have the opportunity to speak with you today.
Well, thank you, Ashley, for inviting me. This is really exciting for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So can you tell us more about your background and your wealth of experience?
Sure. I'm a small town girl, just like a lot of people that I know. And I've really had the opportunity throughout my life to be able to venture into many different angles of my career. I actually started out as a fashion buyer for menswear and traveled the world with that profession. And that was sort of my goal when I started out of college. It was going into that field. And then from there, I ventured into completely different opportunities. Obviously, the director of that international company was a technical contact center in a business that I never thought I had anything to do with or any experience in, but I was able to rise within that organization. And then from there, I decided to change paths and look for something that would have a lot of stability. And at that time, I was looking for something that would take me from, my 40s into retirement. And I looked at financial services and I just decided, you know what, I've got a skill set. It's transferable. Let's try it out. So I started as a financial advisor, but within 6 months moved up into the management and leadership organizations and had a great career there. And so it was just this last year that my husband and I made the decision to leave my career to follow his career because we had, for 7 years not really lived together because he was always on the road and our son was now in third year university. He was settled. So it was like, okay, let's make the plunge. So huge, scary thing for me. But at the same time, I always know when you're ready to make that next step in your journey, that there's something better waiting for you. So starting at the beginning of the year, I just launched into a new entrepreneurial social marketing business. And this last month, I've decided to open up my own coaching business with a confidence coaching and speaking and sharing the messages that I've learned throughout my career as I've made my journey through different professions and different opportunities and just seized the moment when I could.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the coaching industry is one that is of really it's a great value in today's kind of uncertain economic climate. So I'm wondering today, what advice would you give someone who is considering this kind of change in career, maybe a pivot, totally taking a new direction, starting out as a new entrepreneur? What advice would you give those people as a coach?
Yeah, I believe what you just said, that in the environment we're in today, there's so much uncertainty. That job that we've always counted on before really may not even exist as we go forward. And a lot of people have found themselves displaced during this whole season this year. And so 2020's had a lot of disturbance, and with that becomes opportunity. It can be very fearful for a lot of people. And so, from a confidence perspective, I see a lot of people with a lot of fear, afraid about what's next, as opposed to being open to what's next and how can I create the future that I choose. And so in my coaching business, I really focus a lot with people on helping them to overcome those barriers and to look ahead as opposed to looking back. And I find from a confidence perspective, when you really start assessing your skills, what you bring to the table, what your worth is, and really thinking about what your true purpose is in life and what you want to achieve, that really helps them to be able to determine what they would like to do in the future and to get more of a grasp on that and go from that point of fear to that point of excitement and growth within their life. And so for me, in the economy that we're in today, it does bring a lot of discomfort. And we all know from a confidence perspective, when you have discomfort, there's two ways that you can go, right? You can stay where you are and still continue with that discomfort, or you can make a choice to move to a different avenue or a different outlook on your life. And so for me, the biggest advice I have is be open. Be open to what's coming up. Be open to what's out there for you. And really do some internal soul searching on what your true purpose is and are you really fulfilling it in what you have today.
Absolutely. I agree with that very much. It's there's a lot of opportunity to be had right now. So with that fear, it's being able to kind of seize the day and kind of look inward and find what your passion is. And really, it's kind of your passion that's going to drive you forward.
Absolutely.
So touching on the book that you co-authored, I'm sure many of our viewers are wondering if you can kind of let them in on the secret of exactly what is the secret to success.
Yeah, so the co-author Christine Sales and I had worked together in financial services, and we were afforded the opportunity to actually speak at an international event for our industry. And when we got there, we found out we were the first Canadian women ever in the 40-year history to actually speak at the event. So we were pretty proud of that. And so what we brought to the table was this acting with intention, and really the secret to redefining your success. And when we looked at it together, we sort of looked at what are the things that we had in our background that made us successful and being able to move forward fast in our profession compared to others around us. And so we developed our formula. And so our formula really talks about drilling down to find out what is it that we have in our day? What are all the daily activities that we have? Because as we all know in business today, we feel like we're pulled in 25 directions at the same time. You'll get a ping for an email. You'll get invited to a meeting at the last minute. All of a sudden, there's a change in strategy, or the company decides they're going to change on a dime as far as, okay, now everybody's working from home. Eek, how do I do that when I've got 3 kids at home? So I think there's a lot of disruption in the marketplace. And when we wrote this, there was a lot of disruption in our industry at that time from a regulation perspective, from just the climate, the expectations of clients, etc. And so when we looked at this, it really is a universal formula. And so when we talked about those daily activities that we do, we really wanted to combine that with what our ultimate goal is that we wanted to achieve in whatever it was we were attacking. So whether it was our business, whether it was our home, what is that goal that you want to attach to achieve because of those daily activities? And when we do that, what that does is that really creates our opportunity to look at the daily non-negotiables. So what are the absolute top 5 things or 3 things that we have to get done every day first before we do everything else? Because when we narrow it down to those daily activities that really generate your income or generate that happiness or generate that prosperity that you're looking for, then that's what's going to really help you to be able to gain some success faster. And so in speaking to large audiences, what we found is a lot of people still get hung up with, but how do I set aside like an hour of time just to focus on those before I do anything else? But we know the secret to success is to be intentional. And when you're intentional and you really focus on those key items that are going to drive your revenue, drive that success, drive that purpose, that's what's going to make the difference. And so when we look at that and we combine those daily non-negotiables with our intention, that's when we find success. And throughout that process, one thing that we really found is a really challenge for a lot of people is to really define their why. And a lot of people have studied their why before, and I really like the theory of the 5 whys. And so I've used it a lot in coaching when I was coaching my sales professionals on my team and my entrepreneurs, is that when I used a 5 why model, it's really difficult to get past the first, second, third ones. Once you get to the third one, to get to their 4th and 5th why, which is really truly what's going to motivate them to go forward, that's what's really making the difference for anybody that I've coached. And I tell you, I've seen people go from looking so stressed in their mind, and by the time we get to the 5th why, look like a completely different person because it really came back to their heart. And honestly, in this life, what do we have? How we feel, right? How we feel that we're living for our family, for our company, the things we want to achieve. And that, to me, was a huge difference for people when I'm able to dig down to that true why. And so when we apply the formula that we have, the success formula, and combine it with our 5 whys, it's really simple to break through those barriers.
Wonderful, wonderful. It really does come down to kind of finding your passion, and passion really is the secret to success.
Yeah.
So thank you very much today for chatting with us, Sally. If you're looking to learn more about Sally, her business, her coaching services, her book, Acting with Intention, The Secret to Defining Success, please feel free to reach out to her via her website, which is www.sallyarkellboles.com, or you can connect with her as well on LinkedIn today. Sally, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ashley, for having me. It's been great to